What's up, man? Um, Today we just gonna talk about growth. Keep this shit simple. It's my first video. Uh, Not just growth, but like the concept of growth. You know what I'm saying? Like, what does it truly mean to grow, right? So we all grow up, right? Let me just start off like that. We all grow up. You know, we come from a juvenile to a young adult, you know what I mean, a preteen, teenager, and then to a young adult. And throughout this process, we go through a lot of different steps and phases, and this is called growing pains, right? And the reason I even brought that word up is because it's really important to understand that word front to back, growing and pains, right? What that really does is cement in my head, and should cement in your head, that growing up is not an easy thing to do. Growing is a painful process, right? And I'm going to talk about a few things that go into that, right? The first thing about growing is comfortability, you know what I mean? Being uncomfortable. The second thing is basically accepting new things into your life and letting go of old things. And last is just taking on more responsibility. I'm gonna just keep it simple. Let's talk about those three, right? So first, we got the idea of being uncomfortable, right? When you're comfortable in any situation, what it does is it gives you like a sense of calm, a sense of serenity, to where you want to just relax, right? When you're in a relaxation phase, you're in like a recovery stage, you're in a stage to where it's like you're chilling, right? And to make this easier, I like using examples, right? Just think about working out. When you're in a recovery stage, you're not making any progress, right? You're just recouping your energy to move on at a later date, make more progress on a later date. Because to make progress, especially with anything, especially with your body, is painful. You know what I mean? You have to go through a strenuous process. It's the same thing with life, right? And all this has to do with being uncomfortable. To grow up, you're gonna have to go through different things, different phases, and ultimately break out of your shell and go into uncomfortable situations. And you have to be okay with that, right? We always had a first of everything. First day of school, first time eating this, first time trying this, first time this. And what that does is it helps you understand and view things differently. It helps you view the world differently, right? For example, people who are well-traveled and travel the world have a more mature mindset because they have more experiences that helps them understand the world and themselves in a different or better way, right? Or if you're dating somebody who's dated a lot of people versus somebody who's never dated anyone, the person who had the more experiences, they're going to be more mature and more understanding of the world, themselves, and others, because of that very fact that they've been outside of themselves, they've been outside of a comfortable situation and had to experience these different things that they probably couldn't control or didn't know the outcome, right? Didn't know the outcome. And all of this just comes around to say that being comfortable should be seen as your enemy, right? Because all the examples that I gave prior to this is just little versions of the bigger picture, you know what I mean? For example, I don't know, I already gave enough examples. Fuck that shit. Like, fuck that shit. No, I already gave too much examples. I'm gonna move on to the next one. Accepting new things, right? Let's say, for example, me, I'm a young adult. I just graduated college, right? And I'm trying to build myself up, and I want to save a certain amount of money. But I realize that takes a certain amount of discipline, right? Part of growing up is learning more and being disciplined. So certain things like smoking, drinking, things that cost money that aren't technically to my benefit, I'm gonna not do. I'm gonna abstain from buying unnecessary things like clothes, shoes, drugs, any of that. I have to abstain from, right? And this goes hand in hand with responsibility, the third thing. Becoming responsible is one of the more important aspects of growth, right? I'm not just saying responsible like regular shit like cars, paying for something, paying bills or whatever. It could be as simple as becoming responsible for yourself, responsible for your own life, responsible for the outcome of your own life and your destiny and what you're doing every day. You gotta be responsible for yourself, your actions, and what comes with your actions, right? If you are at a weight that you don't like to be, it is your responsibility to go and change that. And that's how it should be. You know what I mean? Yeah, somebody texted me. But you're responsible for that, right? Nobody else is responsible for you but you, technically, especially as an adult. You can't expect anybody to make you feel happy. You can't expect anybody to just give you money. You can't expect anybody to just do for you what you can't do for yourself, right? So, going hand in hand with the responsibility and accepting new things. When you was a child, right? You probably thought that Santa Claus was real. You probably believed in a lot of fairy tales and all these things. And there comes a day where you had to grow up and accept the truth of the matter that is not real, right? Or that even if it is real, who the fuck cares? Because you got bills to fucking pay, my nigga. Who the fuck, like, who the fuck cares, right? And what this does is it matures you. You know what I mean? It makes you more seasoned. You're not as raw. You're more seasoned as a human being. And you're less palatable. You're less naive. And because it is, it's a beautiful thing. Because along with all this pain comes successes, right? And truly, going back to the pain aspect of everything, you have to be comfortable with pain, because to live is technically a painful thing, right? Life is amazing, but life is not sweet, right? We live in a world where we kind of finesse each other to believe in that life is something that should be sweet, beautiful all the time, but it's really not. We have all aspects and different spectrums of life. We have the yin and the yang, you know what I mean? All these different spectrums. And because of that, not because of that, but because a lot of people are fooled to believe that things should be nice and things aren't as nice, they see it as a bad thing. But it's truly not. It's just something that you need, right? Some kids needed to get their ass beat a couple of times to learn that they shouldn't be picking on other people's children. Some people had to get slapped upside the mouth to learn that they got a slick ass mouth. Some people had to get their heart broken by somebody to realize the true impact of how they treat others. And these are important learning lessons for us to grow with, right? This is all over the place. That's just how I think. I just came out here and talked. But breaking it back in, oh my God, it's a fucking, hold up, you see, look at this cat, hold up. You see that shit? Look at that nigga. Crazy. Crazy as hell. But to bring it all into one, right? To grow, it's an inherently painful process. And instead of shying away from it, you should accept it fully and see it as a blessing. It's something that you should take charge of and responsibility for and be grateful for, instead of something that seems as a burden. Look at it as an opportunity. Every day you wake up is a new opportunity for growth and an opportunity to change your life for the better. And that's it, motherfucker. That's all I gotta say. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna hit y'all motherfuckers up another time. That's crazy. Hold up.